Hello and welcome to another TCB short podcast. Today's short podcast will be a bit different, as this short podcast will be powered by Football Manager. Of course, if you didn't know, we do actually have a Football Manager channel, which you can find in the description below. There's a link there where we do a lot of saves, so go check that out. It'd be great. But I thought we could do something to incorporate Football Manager into our podcasts. Nigeria, the Super Eagles, have put on a fine display at this World Cup, not only due to their wonderful kit, but also due to their team's performance and togetherness. The young side, managed by Gernot Rohr, have shown real talent at this World Cup, beating Iceland and being very unlucky not to pick up a point against Argentina to qualify for the last 16. And though they are on the plane home at this World Cup after the group stage, this is not the last we will see of this brilliant Nigerian side. Their manager believes that the Nigerians will be ready to compete for honours into the 2020 World Cup. So let's have a look why Nigeria are a side for 2020 using Football Manager. The average age in real life of the Nigerian squad at the World Cup is 26, so they're a very youthful squad, and a lot will be coming into their full potential by the next World Cup. As such, as I said there, many players may be heading at their peak at the next World Cup. Here are 5 players who could be at their peak for Nigeria at the next World Cup, assuming they qualify. We'll be looking at their potential ability and their current ability. So, and this is out of 200, that's how Football Manager works. So, let's look at the first player, Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi, the Arsenal player who made his burst onto the scene in 2015, and kind of showed how he was a very good talent. We haven't seen much of him since that season, on and off of his talents, but he has got a lot of potential, and as you can see in his stats, he's got a lot of good stats like pace, acceleration. He's very well rounded as an attacking player. He is 25 years old at the next World Cup, or he will be. He has a current ability of 143 and a potential of 158. And if he can be anywhere near as good as he has been for Arsenal on occasions for Nigeria at that World Cup, Nigeria will have a real threat in the attack with this enthusiastic winger. The next player is Wilfred Ndidi, who has been playing for Leicester for a season now, and he has 2 seasons actually, 2 seasons now. And he has performed very, very well. Of course, he made his £15 million move away from Genk, and he has really shown his strength in midfield, in Leicester midfield this season and last season. With his look at this. Just look at the physical attributes there. Like natural fitness, stamina, 16. And his passing ability and tackling have got a lot better as the Premier League season's gone on. And he has a ability of 138 and a potential ability of 150 to 180. So he could become a world-class player, and he will be at only 24 at the next World Cup. So he could be an amazing talent for Nigeria in their midfield, and it could be another reason why Nigeria will be hard to beat in 2022. Kelechi Iheanacho, who has gone off the ball somewhat in terms of his talents, or at least showing his talents. After leaving Man City, he hasn't got a lot of game time, nor would he have a lot of game time at Manchester City though, but he has shown glimpses of real talent, and he scored a good amount of goals off the bench for Manchester City and hasn't been able to recreate as much of his form at Leicester, but he is still a progressing player, and he is only 21, so that means he will be 25 by the next World Cup. He is a very, very pacey poacher of a striker, and alongside Iwobi, he could be absolutely deadly, with him probably potentially getting most of the goals and being a real force to be reckoned with. He has an ability of 134 and a potential ability of 130 to 160. The next player is Ongarakaro Etebo. The player has just signed for Stoke, but he is already getting interest after the World Cup from bigger teams. And as we've seen before, players can sign for a club and then a few weeks later sign for another, so I wouldn't rule anything out. He could be in the Premier League rather than the Championship next season, because his performances at this World Cup have been absolutely astounding. I was lucky enough to watch him play against Argentina, and he was tackling the likes of Messi and Mascherano, which he was committed. He did not give up, and I think this player will go far, especially if he's in England, because there's that competitiveness, and if he kind of gets that into his game, he could be really good for Nigeria at the next World Cup, and there's another reason why Nigeria are going to do so well. He has an ability of 128 and a potential of 147. And the last player with a lot of potential in the Nigeria squad for 2022 is Francis Uzoa. The 19-year-old has been living a dream this World Cup, where he is being able to save shots from the likes of Modric and Messi, something he would probably never have dreamed of, or he would have, but he never thought he might have come true. He's only 19 and he's already starting for Nigeria. He hasn't had a lot of club games. I think he's only played about 3 times for Coruña, their first team, but after this World Cup I can see him getting a lot more game time. He has a underrated ability of 100 and a potential of 110 to 140, so he will be a star for Nigeria. Not only do they have many players moving into their peak by the next World Cup, they will have a lot of players such as Musa and Moses, who will also be not reaching the tail end of their career, but they could be reaching their final peak as such, as they'll be moving into their late 20s and early 30s, but they'll still do an amazing job. And they also might still have John Obi Mikel, who is 31, but in 4 years' time he will only be 35, so he could actually make it to the next World Cup and give a lot of experience as captain to the Nigerian squad. So overall, this Nigeria squad will have a lot of experience from this World Cup. They will also have a number of growing talents to use at the next World Cup. They will be a very talented squad by 2020 and will definitely be in with a chance of causing an upset. And that is why we will see a lot more of this Nigeria team in the future. They are definitely a side for 2022. I hope you've enjoyed watching this new style of video. If you have, do please like and subscribe, and let us know whether you think Nigeria will be competing for silverware at the next World Cup, whether that be 3rd or 2nd or even 1st. Thank you for listening. Of course, enjoy the World Cup. No football on today, so have a watch of other podcasts and Football Manager. Enjoy the World Cup. Don't forget to be awesome, and see ya.